The doctors of Drum Island are a thing of legend in One Piece, because in no other island or story do we see so many doctors in one place, advancing the field of medicine, something Drum Island doctors are known for. So let's take a look at all of the doctors of Drum Island. First, let's talk about the 20 doctors, the Ishii 20. So before there was a 20 doctors, Drum Island was full of medical professionals who were able to treat the hundreds if not thousands of residents of the Drum Island Kingdom. Because of Wapol, the king and dictator of Drum Island, most if not all of the nation's physicians were exiled or threatened with death, save for 20 MDs which pledged their loyalty to Wapol and acted as his personal physicians. They treated Wapol and his military exclusively, and would only serve other people as a bargaining chip for Wapol if those people would pledge their loyalty to Wapol and grovel to him. And as a result, Wapol would then extort the people in the form of payments and taxes. However, what Wapol didn't know was that his very own 20 doctors were secretly working tirelessly to advance the field of medicine. They actually studied and researched in order to advance the field of medicine in servitude to Wapol, but in service of the people of Drum Island, if they were to ever regain their freedom. Once free from Wapol's control, these doctors were transformed into the 100 doctors with the guidance and leadership of Dr. Kureha. The 20 doctors are pivotal in the One Piece world, and if the 20 doctors haven't gotten their flowers, here they are. Dr. Hiriluk. Dr. Hiriluk was a doctor and former thief. Hiriluk was a thief that was diagnosed with a terminal illness, but was saved by a vision of a sakura tree that he found so beautiful and healing that he called himself cured. And not only this, he was inspired to change his life and become a doctor. In truth, Hiriluk wasn't so much cured. In fact, his illness followed him dormant all his life. But the vision was real, and his desire, more than anything, afterwards was to become a medical doctor. Yet he was known as a quack, because much of his remedies were largely experimental, causing him to do a lot more damage than good. And what he really wanted to do was to transfer what was essentially an emotional and spiritual awakening to his homeland, as someone who knew Drum Island as his true home. It was this desire to heal and to awaken others spiritually which led him to take in a small humanoid deer named Chopper, who deeply needed help. Hiriluk defied Wapol to the end, avoiding joining him and escaping his military as much as he could while he practiced medicine under Wapol's cruel regime in secret. Chopper. Chopper was another doctor on Drum Island. He wasn't a people doctor, he was a deer doctor. In that he was actually a deer, and not that he treated deer. Although I'm sure he did treat animals, but I digress. Chopper was a reindeer that left his herd due to mistreatment for his blue nose, and moreover because he ate a devil fruit that gave him the abilities of a human, and in particular a human's mind. In fact, Chopper, with his devil fruit ability, is arguably one of the smartest characters in One Piece. Chopper first learned medicine under Dr. Hiriluk, who was essentially teaching him as a kindness while Chopper was healing. But as Hiriluk wasn't a typical doctor, Chopper didn't learn very much, aside from first aid. After Hiriluk passed on, he was taken in by Dr. Kureha, who during Wapol's reign was also practicing medicine in secret, doing her best to avoid Wapol. Chopper's primary function was to serve as Dr. Kureha's, or Dr. Rin's, transportation and assistant during her medical treatments. And because of how prolific Dr. Kureha was as a physician, Chopper became a world-class doctor. And speaking of which, Dr. Kureha. Dr. Kureha, also known as Dr. Rin by Chopper and which by the citizens of Drum Island, was a world-class doctor and medical leader of the eventual Ishii 100. Where Kureha came from and how she learned to be a doctor is all very mysterious in the series. But she does seem to know at least a little bit about the Will of D and Gold D. Roger. Not to mention, she's strong. But other than this, what we see from her on Drum Island is very competent doctoring. Expert doctoring. She served on Drum Island for a long time as a doctor and even during Wapol's oppression. During this time, like Dr. Hiriluk, Kureha practiced in secret, but gained the nickname of Witch both because she's old, over 120 years old, but also because she's mean and would extort her clients for money, taking whatever she felt like in exchange for her treatments. But because she was a good doctor, she always healed. After Wapol was banished from Drum Island, the new Sakura Kingdom recognized her as their lead doctor, and she became the leader of the Ishi 100, a troop of doctors that she took over and led after Wapol was defeated. These are the doctors of Drum Island, elite, smart, and strong. Strong enough to face an oppressive regime in which medicine wasn't practiced freely or accessible to all. There are none like them, and the ripples of how they have advanced the field of medicine can be felt throughout the entire One Piece world.